Hello, my name's Johnny and this is a rundown review of the games in the Humble Monthly Bundle for June 2017. We'll go through everything on offer with short, sweet reviews to help you decide if you should be signing up. So let's get started. I've actually wanted this game for quite a while. I'm a big Total War and Civilization fan and I like to think that I'm quite good at the old 4X games. Boy was I wrong. Stellaris is one of the most in-depth and complex games I've ever laid eyes on. It's just a blessing that you can pause the game and give orders, because otherwise there'd just be too much stuff to sort through. Stellaris sits you on the throne of a galactic empire and gives you the chance to conquer or befriend as you will. Systems must be surveyed and built in, habitable planets must be colonised. Each of these systems and planets needs to be micromanaged to keep maximum efficiency, which is where the jaw-dropping complexity comes from. That's not even going into how scientific research and travel work. But once you get into the groove, it can be really satisfying to watch your empire expand and push against the borders of its neighbours. Every time I was stupid enough to get into a war with someone, they instantly smacked me down, but no doubt someone who's not terrible could do better. It doesn't help that the race I was playing had no option for diplomacy, and my main response to alien life was to scream, "Alien scum!" Yes, really. But I think I'll continue on with Stellaris. It's whet my appetite for its brand of psychotically detailed 4X strategy, and I can see it absorbing many hours of my short life. Think Planetary Annihilation without the interstellar travel. If you've never played Planetary Annihilation, 1. What are you doing with your life? 2. Think Supreme Commander on an even larger scale instead. Ashes of the Singularity has the standout feature of being one of the first games designed with DirectX 12 in mind. That's what's behind the game's ability to easily render hundreds of units on screen at once with no problem on modest systems. This isn't the base game you're getting with a Humble Monthly, this is the standalone expansion with a new campaign and a whole bunch of new units, maps and buildings. I had a good time with this one. It's more of a simple rock, paper, scissors situation than other similar RTS games, but it works flawlessly and provides a solid RTS experience. It can be a little bit confusing at times given how many units are on screen at any given moment, but once you get used to automating your buildings and focus on managing your troops, it's not too difficult to manage. Ashes of the Singularity is worth it, even just to witness the wonders of DirectX 12. It's as much a tech demo as it is a game in many ways, but it's a tech demo that's also a really engaging strategy title. Now this is a unique experience. You wake up in a field full of corn just as a bunch of sentient corn stalks leg away from you into the maze of, well, maze. It gets stranger from there. Maze is a puzzle game full of adventure game logic. That is to say, it's a loosely strung together set of totally nonsensical events. At its core is the twin combo of its gentle sense of humour and its borderline horror aesthetic and mood. Maze has a funny way of putting you on edge and keeping you there, even as you use a sink full of sour corn syrup to remove a severed hand from a glove. It's probably the most impressive thing about the whole experience. Obviously there's a lot of humour involved in the presentation too, but none of it will make you laugh out loud. It's more of the, "oh I see what you did, well done" type of humour. But at least it's not cringeworthy. You'll see the jokes coming from a mile away, but you'll probably still appreciate them enough to smile when they land. It's definitely a game I'd recommend trying at least once, though certainly not amazing. Sorry. Shopkeepers is a game that gives you the chance to see what it's like to be one of the many shopkeepers you've ran into while playing fantasy RPG games. You order in items, display them in your shop, and then watch as adventurers wander in to buy, steal, or mess up your displays. It's fair to say the game looks like crap, but it's quite engaging once you get into it. The whole thing is really relaxing and makes a perfect game for zoning out when you're listening to a podcast, or the news, or something similar. Being a good salesman lets you upgrade points that let you unlock new displays, which lets you display new items, which makes you more money or makes customers less likely to walk out in disgust at your prices. One problem the game has is the sheer amount of thieves. At one point, thieves got so thick on the ground that I decided to make that literal and stop mopping up their corpses, hoping the mountain of bodies would scare off others. It's a long haul game, so expect to get a lot of time out of it, and make sure you've got plenty of listening material. It's only engaging enough to occupy around one half of the human brain, so maybe buy an audiobook if you plan on putting in some time with this. At this point I think most people know the basics of Super Hot. Time only moves at full speed when you do, so standing still gives you a chance to take in your slow-mo surroundings and plan your next move in this FPS Puzzler. It's not an FPS with puzzles though. Every fight in Super Hot is a puzzle that requires you to navigate your environment, enemies and hazards with borderline perfection to make it to the next level. Its visuals are gorgeous, its action is exciting, and the replays it gives you at the end of each stage make you feel like a total beast, even if they are a bit janky to look at. Super Hot does have narrative threads running through it and a really cool way of exploring that story, but it all takes a backseat to the slow motion violence. Once you're done exploring the story, you can get into the time trials and various Easter eggs hidden throughout the game's MS-DOS inspired front end. If you enjoy late 90s action films and sparse visual styles, you'll adore Super Hot. Make all of my dreams a reality by wiping humanity off the face of the earth with an apocalyptic illness of your own design. Gank is a supposedly realistic simulation of how germs and viruses travel across the world, infecting people and mutating over time. The goal is, like I said, putting an end to humanity, but the method of getting there is entirely up to you. You could choose to lay low, holding off on developing symptoms until you've got a majority of the population literally eating and breathing you, before swinging open the gates of symptomatic hell, turning your hosts into coughing, spluttering, squirting heaps of blood and pus. You could use symptoms to propagate your genetic legacy, and just deal with humanity's attempts to research you as they come. Either of these and any number of variations in between can be yours to choose from, and it's a hell of a thrill to eventually succeed and murder every last human for some sick reason. Once you're done with that, you can move on to different types of illness, even going to the more fantasy route and commanding a zombie virus, or even worse, a vampire one. Gank is a really good game for listening to things over, just like Shopkeep, so make sure you've got a fitting backdrop for your chosen annihilation of humanity. Imagine the results of an unholy sexual union between Syndicate, MechCommander and future cop LAPD. That's Brigador, a game about piloting a deadly mech through an isometric landscape, tearing down buildings and shredding all opposition with devastating weaponry. It's a damn good time. It's gorgeous too. Brigador's art style calls up memories of Blade Runner and does an excellent job of conveying the mood of the world you're tearing apart. A world where life means so little and hope even less. When you first get started, you'll think it's pretty easy, but it does ramp up significantly. You'll need to be fully aware of all of your mech's abilities at any given time to ensure you're going to make it out alive, and that difficulty adds to the whole bloody, dirty, ugly aesthetic that it's so clearly gone for. The music is fantastic as well. 80s style synth beats hammering in the background as you eviscerate everything around you. The mixture of art style, aesthetic and gameplay is spot on, and it's an almost zen-like experience. Or it would be if it wasn't for all the creepiness and murder. Tiny Echo is the humble monthly exclusive for June. I don't really know what Tiny Echo is. You control a tiny postman with an eye for a head who goes around delivering her complement of letters for that day. As you give out the letters to their recipients, you're sucked into their shadows and get to witness the letter waking them up from some sort of internal slumber. I'm guessing this is awakening their spirit in some way, but I've no idea what that even means. Some of them seem to be holding items that might be relevant, but again, it's unclear and confusing, probably by design. What I do know about Tiny Echo is that it's stunningly good looking. The art on display is fantastic, and even the fact that your little eyeball monster doesn't really fit in with the art style feels right somehow. I'm quite looking forward to sitting down with my wife and going through this game with her. Maybe she can get some understanding of it that I can't, or maybe we can figure out together what the hell any of it means. Regardless of whether you understand it or not, it's clear that Tiny Echo is a well put together, gorgeous little point and click that probably has some interesting messages behind it. I just hope I can figure out what those messages are one day. And that was the Humble Monthly Bundle for June 2017. All things considered, it's a great package that I'd recommend to just about anyone. Looks like next month we'll be getting Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin at the very least, so things are looking good for July's bundle. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next month.